The third Canadian federal election was the first one to be held on a single day, more specifically on January the 22nd, 1874, owing to the change of government caused by the Canadian Pacific Railway Company scandal-induced resignation of Prime Minister John A. Macdonald, although his majority had become very slim in the House of Commons and was dependent on the support of a couple of independent conservatives. Anyway, the new Prime Minister and the Canadian Liberal Party's leader, Alexander Mackenzie, wanted to confirm his support among the Canadian electorate by having the Parliament dissolved by the Canadian Governor-General and having a snap parliamentary election held. It should be remembered that until 1926, at least, the members of the House of Commons who were appointed into the federal cabinet had to immediately resign their seats and seek re-election in order to prove that they had the public support for their appointments. And probably Mackenzie considered it wiser to have a general election, federal election called, rather than have his cabinet ministers and himself resign and seek immediate re-election. 206 members were elected to the Canadian House of Commons. The Liberals received a clear majority in terms of the seats, with 129 seats. Some 128,000 Canadian men, or 39.5% of those who cast valid votes, voted for them, and the secret ballot was instituted. The Conservatives were badly defeated, receiving only about 98,000 votes, or 30.1% of the total, and just 65 seats. Of course, the first past the post or single-member plurality electoral system exaggerated the Liberal victory. Canada was thus granted a stable government until 1878, when the next federal parliamentary elections were held. 69.6% of the eligible voters then turned out. Of the 65 Conservative members of the House of Commons, 26 were still Liberal Conservatives. 4 independents were elected. In total, the independents received 3.2% of the popular vote, or about 10,000 votes. 5 independent Liberals were elected. Some 6,500 Canadians voted for them, or 2% of the total. 3 independent Conservatives were elected, even though only about 2,400 Canadians voted for them, or just 0.7% of the total. The party or political affiliations of 104 candidates were unknown. Together, they received about 78,000 votes, or 24% of the total. And during this parliamentary term, the Canadian Pacific Railway's construction slowly proceeded westward.